Hi, good evening. My name is Elisa Panduro, and today I'm going to be doing my bacterial presentation on Listeria. Now, I will be focusing on the taxonomic hierarchy as well as the classification and interesting facts. Something important to know about Listeria is that it does have the eight taxonomic hierarchies, and number one would be the most obvious. The domain is bacteria. The kingdom would be eubacteria. The phylum would be Firmocytes. The class is Bacilli, and family would be Listeriaceae. And I apologize if I mispronounced that. My wording is not, or pronunciation is not the best with Latin words. The genus is Listeria, and I am gonna touch base slightly on Listeria innocua, but mostly I wanted to put my focus surrounding the species of Listeria monocytogenesis, or genus. Now for Listeria innocua, it is non-infectious, and I thought that was interesting in itself. It does have aerobic metabolism, and the glucose yields only with lactic acid. It is gram-positive and rod-shaped, which I found that a lot of Listeria species were rod-shaped. It does produce flagella for motility, and again, the flagella from earlier in the semester that we learned is that helps the bacteria navigate to wherever it's trying to embark or whatever host it's going to. And it does metabolize methane, sulfur, nitrogen, among other inorganic compounds. The main focus for my presentation again is going to be Listeria monocytogenesis. The phenotype, like similar to the previous species, is that it's short, non-branching, and it also is non-spore forming, gram-positive, and rod-shaped. It does have a tumbling motility at 20 to 25 Celsius degrees due to the flagella, again with its Petrichus flagella. The metabolism that I found, or metabolic classification that I found, was that it does grow under strict anaerobic conditions, and it does have some altered carbon metabolism. With oxygen, it does oxidize glucose, acetate, lactate, and acetone. Another characteristic that I found was that it is highly adaptive to the cytoplasm for whatever host for most cells are throughout the years. The most obvious vulnerable individuals for this bacteria is pregnant women. That being because it can involve life-threatening, not for the pregnant woman itself, but so much more for the fetus. The symptoms are more flu-like. There is fatigue, muscle aches, miscarriage, or stillborn. Again, it is life-threatening for the newborn. There are other vulnerable patients in this realm of bacteria, and that would be the elderly, children, anyone with a weak immune system. Those symptoms for that particular demographic or patient would be the diarrhea, the headache, which it would be probably typical for most bacteria, but it can also be asymptomatic or take up to 1 to 7 days to incubation period. The big takeaway from what I learned about Listeria is that we can prevent it. It is preventable with implementing the FDA implementing food safety regulations, which already we do see that displayed around restaurants, but at home, being proactive on having awareness of what causes Listeria, and that could be as simple as washing our fruits. It could be as simple as maybe washing that knife that you use to chop the chicken and use it on the veggies. You do not want to do that. And you also want to avoid unpasteurized dairy products. The most obvious would be queso fresco, or any raw meat, processed food such as like a hot dog. And again, the biggest takeaway from this was that there are 16 serotypes. Now, very importantly, the only 3 of those serotypes, of those 16, are responsible for more than the 90% of the human disease, and those serotypes are as follows: 4B, 1/2B, and 1/2A. A diagnosis is samples from blood, spinal fluid, or placenta. And in conclusion, something that we need to know is that Listeria is more than food poisoning. The fetus or a child, could die. And again, we need to have that awareness of how this manifests and how we can prevent it. Thank you.